Prizes include 2 Rollercon MVP passes, a Bont Hybrid skate package, and also prizes from Adam Wheels, Big 5, Big O t-shirts, Cruise Skate Shop, Flat Track Revolution, Hit This Derby Gear, Nail Goddess on the Go, Pacific Pub Cycle, Pretty Little Tragic, Rydell Skates, Sin Skitty Skates, S1 Helmets, Townsend Tea Company, Trixie Be True, Pretty Little Tragic, and Castle Megastore. The prizes are nearly endless. Get your tickets within the next 1 minute, 20 seconds, or a half hour from now during halftime.
And welcome back to action here in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. So green and delightful here, Chip. My name is Joe Mama, joined on the microphone by the ever delightful Chip Queso.
Thank you, Joe. It is just an absolute pleasure to join the mic with you again here on this fabulous first day of the Big O tournament. And the Big O's got an even bigger 36 teams, 40 some odd games, juniors, men's, women's, and we get to call this bout. 2 teams that know each other pretty well.
Yes, I would say so. Texas has faced Denver numerous times. Denver has faced Texas so many times. It's been back and forth. Texas, though, has had Denver's number the last 2 years, Chip.
Why don't you made some notes here, kind of remind the folks at home what we were talking about.
All right, so June of last year, Texas victorious 170 over Denver. They had 132 points. The previous year on the 21st of July, Texas 227, Denver 189. And sort of the big one for Denver at Champs in 2012, Denver 210, Texas 199, sort of a last-minute win by the Mile High Club. Denver has rebranded itself, Denver Roller Derby, more inclusive philosophy that they're doing now. So you'll still hear us say DRD, still means the same thing,
right?
But now Denver Roller Derby instead of Denver Roller Dolls.
That's a great thing, and of course the Texecutioners here, also the firing squad. Their B team is here in the house, but right now several familiar faces. In fact, Joe, we might want to run through the rosters real quick.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and give us some Texecutioners.
All right, Texecutioners are fielding today. Number 02, Shortcut. New to Texas, number 07, Jackie Daniels. Captain, number 108, Fifi Namanon. Number 15, Trauma. 1600 is Barbara Ambush. 202, Freight Train, also recently moved from Houston to Austin. Number 22, Polygon. Number 30, Bloody Mary, we all know her. Number 33, Blue Bandit. 420, Stone Her. 5, Smarty Pants. 55, Hoss the Boss. 813, Bitter Cup. And 989, Sarah Heipel.
All right, run through the Denver roster real quick. Number 129, Salvador. 1911, Lorch. Number 20, Willem. Number 28, Barrett. Number 314, Lester. Number 36, DeZellum. Number 37, Garten. Number 4, Busick. Number 52, DeJalo. Number 719, Sharpless. Number 75, Angeli. Number 82, Quigley. And the captains, number 831, S.H. Long. And number 99, Akers. Busick on the line for Denver.
It looks like Hoss the Boss for Texas, and here we go. Period number 1.
Tight wall up front by the Mile High Club. It looks like DeJalo sent off to the box by Denver. Looks a forearm penalty. And Akers now to the box as well.
So Hoss has got 2 up front, but does not get lead jammer. That goes to number 4 for Denver.
And looks like a penalty assisted Fifi Namanon back blocking there on Lester. Lester now playing some offense for Busick as she tries to the outside, finds the seam, calls off the jam, but picks up a track cut. 4 points assessed.
Right there, a lot of action in that first jam. Penalties already being assessed. 2 on the bench for Denver, 1 for Texas.
Scores 4-0, Denver Roller Derby over Texas.
Bloody Mary with the star here in jam number 2 for Texas.
Looks like that's Wilhelm for Denver. 3-on-2 pack favoring Texas.
Bloody Mary up front, a multiplayer block called on Quigley. Lead jammer goes to Bloody Mary.
Oh, nice block there by number 5 for Texas, Smarty Pants. Recycling Wilhelm all the way back to the jammer line.
And Texas with Smarty Pants, Jackie Daniels, and Trauma as Fifi is standing Bloody Mary approaching the pack, trying to put more points on the board.
Good block there by S.H. Long on Bloody Mary, now contained by Akers and DeJalo. Wilhelm still on her initial pass for Denver.
Whistle being blown. It looks like a direction of play penalty on Fifi Namanon, her second time in the box in the 2 jams. So she's going to have to watch that as Quigley is released from the box, going to join her team.
Good work there by Denver, killing the penalty, but Bloody Mary finds a seam on the inside. She is through, 5 points to Texas. Wilhelm now finds a seam, and she is through for the Denver.
Strong move as she gets past Trauma and Smarty Pants. She's making her way back as Bloody Mary is calling the jam. 1 point for Texas. We'll try to keep the score updates, but our current vantage point is the scoreboard is directly above our heads, so it may take us a minute to catch you up on the scores as you are watching at home at WFTDA.tv.
All right, jamming now for Denver. That's number 719, Sharpless.
And Sarah Heupel is jamming first time for Texas. Stretching out the pack up front. Finally gets through on the lane 4 lead jammer, Texas.
Excellent toe stop work there by Heupel. Sharpless has passed the star to Akers, and now Akers on the inside waiting, taking a blocking out of bounds penalty is Akers. So she'll head to the box, and she does have the star. She is the jammer for Denver.
So first power jam for Texas. Out and pass, scoring 5 points, is Sarah Heupel. She acknowledges those 5 points to the ref.
Looks like Lester heading to the box as well. Pivot for Texas to the box.
That's Stoneher. So quite a few penalties early on.
Good blocking up front, and Lorch takes a penalty, and a forearm penalty assessed to Lorch. She'll head to the box. Denver's box runneth over just as Akers was released.
Yeah, it looks like she was just released as Sarah tried to call it off with the jammer standing, but it looks like we will have both jammers on the line to start this next jam.
Score stands right now, Texas 26, Denver 4. Denver has not put any points on the board since the first jam. That's DeZellem on the line for Denver now.
Looks like the second rotation for Haas the Boss. Barbara Ambush sent off on a penalty. I did not see the infraction.
DeZellem now stuck behind a very tough wall. 2-on-2 in the pack, now joined there. And Haas the Boss out, lead jammer, Texas.
Turns around, toe stops, tiptoeing backwards to gain that lead status.
DeZellem recycle all the way to the back of turn 2. Still stuck in the pack. Haas the Boss putting points on the board for the Texecutioners.
Smarty Pants takes Zellum to the inside, re-engaging from the back. Soul blocking along with Freight Train and with Stoneher. Stoneher, 2 years with Texas from Tallahassee. Freight Train, you might remember her last from Houston.
Tight pack work there between turns 3 and 4. A scoring pass for Haas the Boss, and still initial pass for DeZellem.
Yeah, box is cleared. Barbara Ambush joined her team. 2 scrums, one at the front, one at the back. Wilhelm checking her pivot. Her jammer starter, say it was secure.
Good defense there by Lorch up front. And Haas the Boss is recycled, but she's back in the mix for Texas. Pack's now getting spread out as pivot for that Stoner heading in the box for the Texecutioners.
Freight Train doing a good job of bridging. Haas the Boss back up against 3-on-1. Texas awaits Wilhelm to approach the back of the pack.
Excellent defense by Texas with their 3-person rotation. And picking up a penalty now, we have additional number 202 for Texas. It's Freight Train.
That would be her first time in the box. So Stoneher is standing for Texas. Penalty box is clear for Denver. So definitely an advantage going into this next jam. Jam number 5.
If you're joining us on WFTDA.tv, Texas in the black, Denver in the white. Texas leads 31, Denver 4. And picking up a track cut penalty is Busick. She'll head to the box for Denver. Bloody Mary now jamming for Texas. 1 to beat up front, and she is through. Lead jammer, Texas.
Gets a little assist from Jackie Daniels.
Jackie Daniels playing some offense for Texas. Good bump out by Lester from Denver. Now picking up a high block penalty is Lester.
No pack called, and then they let Bloody Mary through. Destruction of the pack. Penalty 5 points. 2 more go to the Denver box.
Jam is called. 5 points for Bloody Mary there. It looks like Salvador will have to remain on the track for Denver as Diallo and Lester filled up the box before she did. Wait some clarification from the referees. Jammer is standing in the box though for Denver.
Jammer standing, 2 sitting, so looks like Denver's got a blocker that will need to serve as soon as the seat becomes available. And of course, a short time at a power jam. Initial start for Sarah Heupel.
Busick back in the mix now, quickly through. Lead jammer Sarah Heupel for Texas. Busick now on the outside, about a half lap behind Sarah Heupel. 2 on 2 in the pack.
Yeah, doesn't matter what team it is. You can't do a whole lot with 2 on 2 blocking.
It's very tough.
Sarah tries to get points. She gets 3, then calls it off.
All right, Texas big lead now. Texas 39, Denver 4.
Just under 20 minutes to go here, period number 1.
Denver now 3 on 1 in the pack, favoring the Texecutioners.
And of course, that's Aker as the pivot, the lone defense. She's doing such a beautiful job on Haas the Boss. That allows her jammer to get through Denver with lead. Nice work, Tracy Akers.
I would say so, yes. 1 blocker versus 3. That's pretty awesome. Looks like Haas the Boss now trying to play some defense on Wilhelm. Wilhelm is through. She's going to keep going around the horn here for Denver. First few points in a while for the Mile High Club.
Yeah, she did a good job. Got Fifi on her inside hit, pushed her out to get those points. Now she's already back around. Meanwhile, Haas the Boss not having very much luck on that 3 wall up front. Direction of play penalty called on Barbara Ambush. Haas the Boss patiently, looks like she's waiting for some offense. Meanwhile, the pack has passed her up mostly.
Another penalty there on number 813 for Texas. That is Bittercup. Wilhelm through 5 points. Haas the Boss again still stuck behind now a 4 wall of Denver blockers. Wilhelm only 2 to beat up front. Good bridge there by Diallo as Wilhelm is through 5 more points. Denver calls off the jam. Some much needed scoring for the Mile High Club. Takes them to 18 points. Texas, though, with 43, 19 minutes and 7 seconds left in the first period of play.
But Denver's best jam, and sometimes a team like Denver, all they need to do is figure out a couple of things, a few more jams, and they're right back in it. Cannot take them lightly because they are very, very smart. And especially with all the penalties, we've got 1 standing Barbara Ambush who's already on her either 2nd or 3rd, and they've got 2, and Freight Train is jamming for Texas.
Right, we've seen penalty swings where there's been 4 blockers out for Denver and 2 for Texas and vice versa. So you can tell that's the tail of the tape here. Freight Train working hard on that wall of Denver, but that's 4 blockers at the back. Busick's got 3 to beat, looking for some daylight. And picking up a forearm penalty is number 1911 Lorch for Denver as Busick calls off the jam. 4 points on that pass for Denver. Takes their score to 22. Texas 43. 18 minutes and 12 seconds left in the first period of play.
Two nice jams defensively for Denver, really cranking it down here, trying to see if they can get some points gained for their jammers, preventing that from Texas here in the past two jams. So 18 minutes to go, 21 points difference between these two squads.
So Bloody Mary jamming for Texas against Sharpless for Denver. 4-3 pack favoring Texas. Sharpless looking for some daylight on the inside line. Meanwhile, Bloody Mary facing a triangle defense there from Denver.
Polygon comes in and clears it out. Bloody Mary looking for that outside. Now down to one. She gets through lead jammer. Polygon sent to the penalty box. I'm not sure if it was for that hit.
Not sure either. Maybe it's worth it, though. Bloody Mary calls off the jam. Sharpless was picking up some steam here. So 0,0 jam. Score remains Texas 43, Denver 22. 17 minutes and 15 seconds left in the first period of play.
Shall I say 3 good defensive jams in a row for Denver, because not allowing Texas to score is a bonus, especially being down this early. They don't want Texas to get too far ahead, vice versa, the same for Denver to get back into it.
Absolutely. There's going to have to be some discussion on penalties here. You've got to make adjustments during play and then definitely at halftime. We'll see what the locker rooms yield at the beginning of the second period.
Right, and as we all know in these tournament plays, is a cut is given to Sarah Heupel trying to tiptoe around.
And DeZellum's through lead jammer Denver. 4-on-2 now, favoring the Mile High Club.
Jackie
Denver.
Daniels getting goaded here, trying to find space, so it's only Fifi is defensive, and that is not successful. 5 more points for Denver.
What is this, 2009? What's going on with the GOAT?
Little bit.
Now looks at the outside. Oh, nice work there by Jackie Daniels. Forces her to the outside.
Forming Denver quickly looking to come in for some offense. Texas now at full strength. And we have lost the kingpin, or kingpin nut has come off as she lost her 2 front wheels on her right skate. Good thing that she didn't tweak anything as that happened, but certainly play was called.
Yeah, that's a big bummer. Equipment happens, man. So we'll see how DeZellum can recover. Looks like she's got a tech heading her way.
Some of those very talented skaters skate with such loose equipment to get as much maximum turn and edging as they can. Sometimes that's the result of it, as we are back into the next jam. Haas the boss for Texas.
And Jallo heading back to the box for Denver, picking up a penalty. No pack call, and looks like out of play assessed there to Salvador. And a cut track on Busick. Power Jam Texas.
So we got 3 skaters to the box, 1 Texas, 2 including the jammer for Denver, which is a full box now. So Haas the boss up against Tracy Akers and Lester, only 2 on the track, and out of play penalty on Tracy Akers. Unfortunate. 5 points for Haas the boss.
I think that was a high block penalty, and so Jallo's standing, so Akers is headed in the box. Jammer now for Denver standing. Salvador also standing. Lester about herself out there. What a great job on Haas the boss.
Nice bit of work by Lester, but 5 points for Haas the boss. Both jammers out. This, of course, is only initial pass for Busick.
Smarty pass into the box for a cut track. As Haas the boss calls off the jam, Lester gets one more jab in, and picking up a back block penalty is Busick for Denver. She will head back to the box.
And Texas takes a timeout. I would certainly think that Dirty Larry is doing that partially because the amount of penalties that are assessing, it seems to be a waterfall effect for both teams, should we say, Joe, but maybe a little bit of a well-planned timeout to see if they can
I'd say both teams could probably use a timeout at this point to reassess how things are being called, how they're being affected by the penalties. And you can't argue with the referees. You've got to make adjustments.
You have to make, you're absolutely right, because arguing is just going to get them focusing more on the bad things that happen. So we need to make sure that they adjust. We've seen that in every Derby tournament. You can't go in and dictate for the referees. The referees dictate, and you hope that they bring things together. And
that is absolutely true. You have very little control of anything outside of your own sphere of skates. So do what you can, play your game. If you need a timeout to chill and reassess, do so.
Now, speaking of penalties, one thing that was noted here is that of those 4 jammer penalties versus 1 jammer penalty, that's 4 on Denver. So penalties accumulating for both teams, but a little bit heavier on the jammers on the Denver side.
Yeah, and that's probably the reason for the score. Surprisingly, though, the score is not higher in Texas's favor given those jammer penalty differentials. Texas 55, Denver 34. We have 13 minutes and 55 seconds right now. We are in an official timeout. If you're watching this on the wonderful WFTDA.tv, Chip, Texas in the black, Chip Queso in the black, Denver in the white, Joe in some unicorn shirt.
Yes. Looks good.
I do it for you, sir. Yeah, again, Big O, I can't say enough about their organization, the venue, the skaters, the volunteers. It's been phenomenal. It's only been a few hours so far. For me, anyway.
Yes. I'd like to hear it for Blood and Thunder. Life's better on roller skates. bloodandthundermag.com. And Joe, that's pretty much right. Life is better on roller skates. Sometimes I don't like to take them off.
Yes, and sometimes, though, it's a pretty good relief when you do take them off. Take them off in a shed or something somewhere, though, so you're not stinking up the rest of your house.
Yeah, that's the good and bad thing about these tournaments is it's a family reunion kind of atmosphere, and you get to see all your buddies. You just have to deal with the stench that is overriding as the weekend continues.
Yes.
But it's one that we all love so dearly.
Oh, no, not love necessarily. You're accustomed to.
Accustomed. There you go. Bloody Mary back as the jammer for Texas. Little hip whip help from Bitter Cup, lead jammer for Miss Bloody Mary.
And picking up a track cut penalty is 8:31 long. And Bloody Mary through 5 points for Texas.
Interesting, Long was able to skate right to the penalty box, but she decided to make a lap around.
She'd already gotten past the point of no return when she realized the penalty was called.
Probably
looks
so.
like a forearm penalty now. Bloody Mary, Power Jam Denver. We're going to go full 2 minutes here since Bloody Mary was your lead jammer.
Direction of play penalty on Smarty Pants. Meanwhile, initial pass for Busick for Denver.
3-on-3 in the pack now. Offense by the Mile High Club. Looking for some daylight is Busick on the outside. And she is through. No pass, no penalty.
Yeah,
5 points, though.
No pass, no penalty, as Trauma also went out of bounds, making that hit. That allowed her Busick to get through. Did not score that point, but unscathed as we've got a track cut. And one of the Texas players, Bitter Cup, holding her face.
It's got to be about the 4th trip for Busick at this point.
So that's 5 jammer penalties versus 2 now on Texas as Bloody Mary just finished her time in the box.
22 seconds left in this jam. Texas putting some points on the board. Smarty Pants with some good offense there at the front. And a star pass now to Smarty Pants. 2 to beat up front, now 3 to beat up front for Smarty Pants. She pauses for effect with the cap on. Then says, thank you for the break.
Yeah. Get that cap on so she can get the points. A lot of times we'll see the jammers pass that hat through the pack, but then those points aren't gained. So Smarty, smart enough to be able to put that on before she gets through. She scores 4.
Texas maintains their about 20-point lead. Well, it's exactly 20 points. It was a little bit less prior. 11 minutes and 35 seconds left in the half. Once again, Texas in the black, Denver in the white. You're watching WFTDA.tv.
Back to the action. Jam number 13 of this first period. Looks like Sarah Heupel back for Texas as the jammer.
And that is Wilhelm for Denver. Pack is squished up there at the inside of turn 2.
Somebody lost piece of equipment on the track. Looks like a shin guard.
That's not required.
That's not required, and it's probably polygons because she's only got one now. But again, that's not an issue, losing a shin guard, except for her shins.
Wilhelm, lead jammer, Denver. Sarah Heupel will want to beat that Salvador up front. Nice work there by Sarah Heupel. Spins to win. She is through for Texas.
Texas holding at bay there between turn 3 and 4 gets knocked out by Trauma just as that jam is called.
And Trauma picked up a back block right at the end there, bumped Wilhelm in the back. So Denver now 48, Texas 66, 10 minutes and 13 seconds left in this first period.
So Joe, we're a little bit into this. This is pretty much what we were expecting.
Yes, sir.
Maybe hoping for, not necessarily score-wise, but the action, the talent, the skill, the adjustments that we're seeing. So a lot of derby to be played as we head into jam number 14, Haas the Boss for Texas.
A few more penalties than I anticipated, but again, we are at the beginning of the season. Should refine our play thusly. Sharpless recycled back. Nice wall there by the Mile High Club.
Haas the Boss not being her normal shifty self, trying to pressure through the wall. Texas is trying to find spot. Haas tries to play a quick defense. Loose Bandit with a hit. Holds back Sharpless just a little bit.
Sharpless looking for some help here. And picking up a blocking out of bounds penalty, Sharpless, she took a step according to the referee from out of bounds to accelerate, which caused the blocking out of bound penalty.
So look for Texas to help Haas a little bit with some offense.
Or not.
Or not.
Well, we still don't have a lead jammer. We are 1 minute and 6 seconds left into this jam. And yes, we do have a lead jammer, Haas the Boss. And a penalty assessed now to Long. And a track cut penalty also now assessed to Barrett. The two on the track. That's Quigley and Lester.
Both those penalties, I believe, were track cuts as a out of play penalty now on Lester. So Texas with 4 on the track, 5 points, and 5 more after that pass.
Big hit by Freight Train. Sharpless one to beat, and will pick up a low block penalty.
That's on Loose Bandit, one of those where you fall, they fall over you. It is a low block, but didn't mean to do it.
And Sharpless finally through, able to score for Denver.
Looks like she had to stash the panty to do so. She just put it back on her helmet.
Another 5 points for Texas. That takes their score now to Texas 80, Denver 48. Big jam for Haas the Boss.
Although Denver has held Haas the Boss relatively at bay. Haas kind of our heyday the last couple of years as a jammer, getting well known. People are now focusing and pinpointing on her when she's on the line. Of course, everybody knows Bloody Mary came off of an injury this past year. Great to see her back on skates, and an important part both as heart and soul and athletically for her team.
Busick back on the line for Denver. Bloody Mary now playing a little bit jammer defense. 2 to beat for Busick, and she's through. Lead jammer, Denver. Bloody Mary stuck behind a wall of Lorch and DeJalo.
Got to let her go. She is through, but in control is Denver. Smarty cannot get to her, so around the outside, 4 more points for the ladies in white.
Lester was standing in the box. Looks like we have an official review pending, called by the Texecutioners. Got to give some compliments to the Denver coaching squad. Overalls, overall pretty good.
Overall
pretty good looking.
Good. You know, I was over there talking to them, and you know, not only is it a very comfortable fashion statement, but you can also store your water bottle in the side if you need. You know,
so
overall.
very functional.
Functional.
So comfort and function.
Never thought we would say overalls are both functional and fashionable. So we should.
And you still will never say that.
We probably won't, and whether we mean it or not is all Derby.
So once again, if you're watching this on WFTD80.tv, come at me, bro, on the tweets. Hashtag Big O 2015. I am at Joe Mama Derby, or you could catch Chip Queso. Are you at Chip Queso?
I'm at Chip Queso. I'm not a huge Twitter tweeter.
But what if you have fans, sir?
You know, it's nice to have fans. Sometimes in this world of Derby, as long as both you and I are doing it, I'm a fan, you know, as much as I am anything else in this. Amazing to walk around these events and see the level of talent and people that are Derby heroes.
Absolutely.
And then we get to be good friends with, share friendly beverages later on.
That's
all
right.
kinds of good stuff. Not to mention being here at the Big O, again, a beautiful setup. They've got this track here. They've got a nice little kind of green room area, sunny place to hang out, and then 2 tracks on the other side. We've got vendors galore all here. So, and we are just getting started. As we know, on Fridays, it really starts to crank up as Friday night and then Saturday comes along.
Absolutely. You know, this venue is fantastic, and the city of Eugene is fantastic. Wonderful weather here. People always talk about how rainy it is in the Pacific Northwest, and we've experienced nothing but beautiful weather the last couple of days, and that's what the forecast is up until Sunday and even into Monday when we sadly depart this beautiful part of the country. But if you're in the States or if you're anywhere in the world and you're watching this, I highly encourage coming here to the Big O. There's great Derby, great vendors. You can pick up a lot of tips and tricks by watching this stuff live and in person. The men's, the juniors, the women's, very high level. We've got the A teams, we've got the B teams. It's really, really a great event.
Absolutely, and you're right. It is a beautiful town. It's a very hip, cool town. So it's a good place to have an event like this. And if I understand it correctly, this could surpass as far as the number of. We're getting some clarifications from.
All right, well,
Mr. Rock.
Hopefully we can hear it, or you can hear this clarification from the referee.
That was Black's official review. Blackers were reviewing a potential cut on the white jammer. The white jammer was knocked out of bounds by a black blocker. While out of bounds, they improved their position on the black blocker, who then stepped out of bounds, as well as on the black jammer, who also stepped out of bounds. Before White's re-entry to the track, the black jammer reestablished their position on the track, and the white jammer entered ahead of them. This will be a cutting the track call on the white jammer. Black will retain their official review.
All right, there you go. You heard it from Mr. Rock.
Hopefully you did, because I don't know if we could repeat those 3 or 4 sentences that he so eloquently described the action that happened.
Suffice it to say, Busick is in the box for Denver. She improved her position on the jammer from Texas, who established her position on the track. So good use of the official review by the Texas Futures coach.
Ready to get some action started down here on the flat track.
About to head back into action. Jam number 16, Freight Train as the jammer gets through. She did not get Lee Jammer on the first one. He did on this one. Full complement of blockers for both squads.
Freight Train to come on through.
Freight Train hits that wall of white. Now Texas mixing up a bit. Freight Train with 1 to beat up front. Now just Quigley to beat, and she is through. That's a full 5 points for the Texecutioners.
5 big points.
Good bit of offense there by Texas. Now they're split 2 and 2 in lane 1 and 4. Doing kind of a crossover sweep, and then
there is number 4.
Right in the back of Polygon, but both of them went down on top of each other. No penalty called.
And while we're looking
Incidental
at that
contact
card,
happens.
Freight
Looking
Train
for
picked up
daylight, and
another 5
Busick is
points.
through for Denver.
Busick very conscious
About a
of her
lap
position
behind
right
Freight
there.
Train, though.
Feels she
Freight
might
Train
have
putting
been
points
knocked
on the
out.
board.
She quickly reforms behind the pack so she doesn't lose her position.
And calling it off is Freight Train.
Calling off the jam out here just before turn 3 before any points are scored by Denver.
Outside
Excellent
pack ref
pirouette
was
there
making
just to
some
get that
kind of a
last available
signal.
point.
We'll see if anything was an infraction. 4 points to 1 in that, 94 to 52.
Let's take an out-of-play penalty assessed to S.H. Long for Denver. So 2 in the box for Denver. That's Barrett and Long. Just 2 on the track, Salvador and Akers for Denver. Lining up for Denver is DeZellem up against Sarah Heupel for Texas.
Zellum knocked to the inside. Trauma knocked on her backside. Have to get back up. Sarah Heupel spin move around. Lead jammer. Both jammers are out. Shortcut though, slowing her down.
Nice. Oh, and Sarah Heupel pops out of bounds.
I think she called that off at the right time, avoiding any kind of a skating out of bounds.
Texas 98, Denver 52. Texas in the black, Denver in the white. 4 minutes and 35 seconds left in this first period of roller derby action.
Bloody Mary again donning the star for Texas.
That's Wilhelm for Denver. Bloody Mary now 1 to beat up front, and she's through. And quickly picks up an out of play penalty. Wilhelm looking for some offense from her skaters. 1 to beat Fifi Namanon, and now 2 to beat. She is through. Bloody Mary though on a scoring pass for Texas.
Polygon was previously sent to the penalty box, didn't see the infraction, although Bloody Mary calls it off after getting 4 points. So Texas down 1, and Quigley in the box for Denver as well. So 3-on-3 in the pack. New jammers in the rotation.
Texas breaks the century mark, 102. Denver still at 52. 50 points now separate these two teams. Looks like Hacksaw Jim Duggan pleading a case here in the middle of a track for Texas.
Right, so we've got an official timeout, so he's got at least the referee's discussing something out there. So it looks like Texas is getting the leads 13 times. Denver's lead is 6 times. Definitely that is always a true tale in the score. So we're at 102 to 52.
Looks like no results out of that discussion in the center of the track. Busick jamming for Denver up against Freight Train for Texas.
Freight Train being a new jammer, new addition to Texas, kind of brings a power jammer that they didn't necessarily have before.
It's nice to mix it up both with skill level and body type. And picks up a blocking out of bounds penalty as Freight Train power jam Denver. That's Busick all by her lonesome out there on the track. Good offense there by Salvador, knocking Smarty Pants out of the way through. 5 points, Denver.
So, and then a forearm penalty on Smarty Pants, so 3-on-2 advantage. Polygon the only one to get past, so calling with shortcut. More points awarded, 5 for Denver.
4-2 pack favoring the Mile High Club. Busick's got at least a couple more scoring passes here before Freight Train comes back on the mix. And Busick is through. Another 5 points for Denver. Freight Train now on her feet.
Polygon had gone down to a knee, very careful that she didn't get a penalty from coming out of that knee stance into a hit. So now 5 more points for Denver. Freight Train back on. Barbara Ambush back on. Smarty Pants making her way. So the penalty box has been cleared.
Akers now in Freight Train duking it out up at the front of the pack. Busick looking for daylight. She's through on the outside. Calls off the jam with another 4 points for Denver. Big jam for Busick takes their score to 75. Texas 102. And just like that, 27 points now separate these two teams.
I think both of these teams are going to go into halftime a sigh of relief and go, okay, here we go. We got to get things cranked back up again. I mean, of course, all of these ladies train all year round, but until you hit action like this in that middle or late towards the year before you start getting to the divisionals and all that kind of stuff, I think they've definitely got some things on both sides to discuss.
Agreed. And Sarah Heupel there jamming for Texas, picks up lead jammer. Sharpless jamming for Denver, still stuck in the pack. Sarah Heupel, though, recycled back by Lester and Barrett.
Yeah, Barrett did a beautiful job of getting up front. Now she forces Sarah Heupel out, but then gets a forearm penalty, but not before Sarah Heupel re-engages from the back of the pack. So penalty taken, job done.
Sarah Heupel now still, she's on an initial pass. She got out and was lead, but got swallowed back in there by Barrett. Lorch now and Lester making life miserable for her up at the front, but Sharpless still stuck way in the back and picking up a track cut there after cutting Bittercup is Sharpless. Power jam Texas.
So look for Texas to let Sarah get through this before they create some offense, as lead jammer established for Sarah Heupel.
54 seconds left on the jam clock, 27 seconds left on the period clock. Denver now speeding up as Sarah Heupel hits the pack.
It looks like Texas started to run it up. Denver played their own game, got out in front, and they were able to hold back. Sarah Heupel, as a forearm penalty, is assessed to 8:31. That's S.H. Long.
S.H. Long. Bear now at the back of the pack, goaded by Texas. Heupel hops the apex. She is through, 5 points for Texas.
Able to maintain and stay in bounds, although she went all the way to lane 4. Nonetheless, nice work.
Sharpless now pulled off the cover and put it back on as Sarah Heupel calls the jam. That'll be halftime. Texas takes their score to 115, Denver 75. Chip, what are we going to say about that first half, brother?
Wow, a lot of penalties on both sides for two teams that really know how to play the game correctly without the penalties.
Right.
Maybe that's causing them to have a lot of penalties. It looks like also both teams, again, just need to go into halftime, account for what happened and adjust. They've got to continue to crank it out through this weekend. There's a lot of derby to be played.
Absolutely. We will see what happens in the second half, what the coaches' discussions and the players' discussions amongst in the halftime locker room situation, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes, Chip.
Sounds good to me.
All right, for WFTDA.tv, this is Chip Queso. I'm Joe Mama. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. And welcome back to the Lane County Events Center here. We are about to go into the second period of Texas versus Denver. Chip Queso joined by Joe Mama.
Hello, hello.
Joe Mama, for anybody who happens to be joining us now, thanks for showing up. Maybe give them a little bit of what you think of that first period.
All right. Tight play, but driven mostly, I think, by penalty problems. So Texas at 115, Denver at 75. Denver plagued by jammer penalties, about 8 thus far. Texas with only about 2 or 3, I believe. That has been the tail of the tape. And I think hopefully you'll see some adjustments by both of these squads in terms of their penalties, because while Denver has been heavy on the jammer side, both squads have a lot of penalties this entire half.
Yeah, the penalty bench has been quite active, as Denver now has one there waiting for this period. Lead jams Texas 14, Denver with 7. And Joe, it looks like we're about to get started, and it's 2009.
What is happening? 4-on-3 pack favoring Texas. Sarah Heupel on the line up against Busick for Denver. Busick working that wall of Texas up at the front. And Sarah Heupel at the rear, now kind of shifting as Sarah Heupel finds some daylight on the outside. Stays in bounds after being hit by Akers, but makes a move and one to beat up front.
And that one is Tracy Akers. Takes a little bit of effort by Sarah as Tracy trying to use everything he can. She gets through, lead jammer.
Busick now moving to the outside. Fifi Namanon heading in the box for Texas. Busick now out of the pack. Sarah Heupel hitting that wall. Calls off the jam. Picks up 3 points there for Texas. Takes their lead to 118. Denver 75, 29 minutes and 10 seconds left in the second period of relatively play.
Now we talked about jammer penalties, and of course those are important in how they reflect to the score. But Fifi Namanon, again, third trip to the box. She had 2 early on in the first period, was able to maintain the rest of that without it, now getting another penalty.
Looks like we're going to start out with a pack advantage going to Denver, Texas. Fielding number 108, Fifi Namanon.
Wilhelm now jamming up against Bloody Mary for Texas. 3-on-3 in the pack sheet, 3-on-4 favoring Denver. Multiplayer block now called on Lorch for Denver, and through lead jammer Wilhelm picking up a penalty is trauma forearm. So Bloody Mary now has pulled the star off and looking for some movement. Push out there by S.H. Long, but keeps her skates in bounds. Great edging by Bloody Mary, and Wilhelm calls the jam. 4 points there for Denver.
Stash, one of the strategies we've seen get utilized more and more here the past couple of years. If that other jammer gets out and you just can't stash it, hopefully it confuses the defense, allows you to get through. It doesn't matter, you're not getting lead anyway. That's what we saw, but Denver controlled that, turned it off. So Texas with 1 player without any penalties. That's number 55, Hostabos, and no penalties for number 36 and number 20 for Denver.
That's Wilhelm and DeZellem. Freight Train jamming up against DeZellem for Denver.
Freight Train looking at this, she's playing defensively. She goes to outside, inside, lead jammer for Denver.
Freight Train about 40 feet behind and closing. Denver now looking for some offense. Actually, Freight Train headed to the box. Did not see the infraction, but power jam Denver. DeZellem finds some room on the inside. She's through. 5 points for Denver.
Yeah, I'm sorry, also did not see the infraction on her called by Colin DeShots. Nonetheless, Denver taking those adjustments that they probably discussed at halftime and coming out blazing, looking to bring themselves back into contention. 84 to 118. 5 more points for Denver as Stoneher, number 420, goes to the box for Texas.
Denver now trying to play some offense as Freight Train returns to the pack. Akers and Lester and Lorch now working on Freight Train. DeZellem stuck behind a good wall of Texas blockers. Good offense by Akers on the outside, and pushed is DeZellem, picking up the full 5 points for Denver.
Denver really keeping Freight Train at bay. She is having a very tough time, not made her initial pass.
Freight Train now pushes through, and she's past Lester, eligible to score. As DeZellem looks to the bench for a signal, calls off the jam. 3 points
by
there
Denver,
for Denver.
And one for Texas.
All right, that takes the score. Texas 119. Good run by Denver, 96. Closing in here, 25 minutes and 45 seconds left. Chip.
So let's go back to those 3 jams at the tail end of the first period where Denver had 2 lead jams in a row. That third jam they kept scoreless jam for Texas, and I had mentioned that all they need is a little bit of opening. Well, it looks like they've taken that opening, talked about it at halftime, and come in as they are not down by very much. Polygon sent to the penalty box just as that jam started. Sarah Heupel is the jammer for Texas.
That's Sharpless for Denver. 3 in the front on her, and a very tough wall created by Texas. Nice wall there as well by Denver. Anchored at the front by Angeli. And looks like a clockwise block now picked up by S.H. Long. And Sarah Heupel with 1 to beat. She is through. And a forearm called on Quigley. Sharpless has taken off the cap. And Sarah Heupel threw in the inside and passes Angeli, picks up all the points. 5 there as Sharpless is on her tail and closing.
Sarah says, take that, but both the jammers go down Sarah to the outside actually also takes out the outside ref.
And
that,
there you
however,
go.
is not a penalty.
That's why we don't have nice things.
Can't take you kids anywhere.
No, actually, that's why they wear the gear as well. So refs need to be safe, even though they don't have souls. That's a joke, Chip. Come on. Come on. Texas 124, Denver 96, 24 minutes left in this game. Busick on the line for Denver. Bloody Mary jamming for Texas. Nice job there by Salvador. Pushes Bloody Mary out. Recycled, and Busick picks up a track cut for Denver. Power jam, Texas. Bloody Mary through Lee Jammer, Texas.
Yeah, that was great work by Texas. As I think it was Shortcut that jumped back to force that track cut unseen.
That will be the 5th penalty for Busick, and the jam was called. Looks like a timeout now by Denver. That'll be their first timeout of this game. We might get to an official review.
Flat mat roller derby. Thank you. Think you don't like yoga? Flat mat roller derby might change your mind. Yoga for your roller derby body, schedule, and budget. Want to skate longer, harder, and with less pain? Time to get the yoga mat with the flat mat.
All right. I could use some flexibility myself.
I absolutely wish I could do more yoga. That sounds like a good way to start.
And looks like we're now on an official review. We will try to get some information on what has transpired thus far. It's an official review, not the symbol for 1980s wrestler Barry O, if you're familiar. Wow, Chip Queso familiar with that reference.
Only slightly. I'm just glad you brought that reference back to help me remember, as we've got the camera now focused on the dancing DJs in the house.
And they're providing us tunes. DJ Meow from Rose City, spinning all the good stuff for us here in beautiful Eugene, Oregon. Oh, I've also been corrected several times on my pronunciation. It's not Willamette, it's Willamette.
Willamette.
Yeah. That's okay. I don't mind, being corrected. I want to say it right for the locals, as a respect to the name and what it's called.
Of course. I'm originally from Houston, but up north, New York and that area especially, they call it Houston.
Houston, okay. Is that how Zod pronounced it in Superman 2? Was it Planet Houston?
I'll say yes. I don't know.
I'm throwing all of this at you right now, Chip, and I don't know. It's a tough situation to be in. All right, so looks like the refs are conferring, and Mr. Rock will now talk to the captain and alternate for both squads.
Captains Tracy Akers and Fifi Namanon, and Scott Free and Dirty Larry represent coaches for both squads.
I thought you said Pokeball.
No, not Pokey, the Pogo.
All right, Mr. Rock, to grab the microphone, give us the official review.
Great information.
We'll pass it over to him.
White was contesting the cut call on their jammer, feeling that the jammer reestablished their position before the black opponent was able to move back and draw a cut. The white jammer reestablished their position inbounds after the black skater had moved back on the track. Therefore, the cut call will stand. White will not retain their official review.
All right, so Denver loses their official review. They were contesting the cut call by the jammer, that's Busick. And the refs found that the black skaters were in play as the white jammer established their position, therefore cutting the track. That is Busick's 5th penalty today.
124 to 96. Denver has made up quite a bit of ground. Texas last jam or two has eked out a few more points than Denver as they put Haas the Boss on the line.
Just Salvador by her lonesome there as Haas the Boss through lead jammer. Denver long and quickly back in the mix for Denver, now 4-on-4 in the pack.
Texas content to let Haas the Boss do her work as they are watching the jammer stand in the box, so they're setting up defensively. Bridging is Denver. And a forearm penalty on Haas the Boss. Previously had no penalties, now has one.
Busick back on the track for Denver as their jammer, now looking for an opening and some offense from her squad. Bitter Cup to beat, some offense there on Smarty Pants, and Busick is through. We're gonna go the full 2 minutes on this jam. 1:03 left in this jam. Busick through, eligible to score for Denver.
Busick's so good at pulling players to one side, finding that gap and getting through. That's how she's beaten Texas several times today. Back up front here with only Smarty Pants to get back. She slips out and gets 5 points for Denver.
Bitter Cup to the box for a forearm penalty as Haas the Boss comes back on the track for Texas. Quigley also back on the track for Denver. It's Polygon to beat. Busick is through. That is 5 more points for the Mile High Club. Takes their score to 106, Texas 124. 27 seconds left in this jam. We're going to go the full 2 minutes.
Outside line, easily getting past Jackie Daniels. 5 more points, so Denver now over the century mark, 111 to 124. 13 points down now. It's still scoring happening.
8-3-1 high blocks SH Long for Denver. Busick putting points on the board. Haas the Boss now with a full 5 on that pass for her. Denver picking up the pace, but Texas still on top, 129, Denver 112.
I'm noticing that some of the players that normally you wouldn't see sketch out or slide out or fall are. One of the things that's been mentioned is that the day goes on and the track starts to warm up and the action on it changes the track just slightly.
Right. So far, so good for Denver. They're mounting a bit of a comeback here. Obviously need to keep their jammer out of the box. Texas, from their point of view, needs to keep players on the track. They're doing much better, obviously, with a 3 or a 4 wall out there. And their jammers, though, having a little bit of difficulty the last couple of jams with the Denver defense.
Got a break here. A fantastic referee crew all weekend long. They'll be working their tails off with the 3 tracks and 40 some odd bouts, of which there's already been 5-7 bouts so far today, and it is still very, very early. I say very early, it's 2:46 here in Eugene.
Want to give a shout out to Bont. Lighter, stronger, faster. Outskate the competition with the Bont Hybrid or the Vapor. Bont skates. All right, so 4-3 pack favoring Texas. On the line for Texas is Sarah Heupel, and on the line for Denver, DeZellem.
Quick official timeout. Looks like we're back on. Texas, of course, at the back wall, front wall for Denver.
Sarah Heupel on the outside right now looking for some position opening and pushed out of bounds there by Lester. That's a recycle behind Barrett. DeZellem still stuck in the pack. Picked up lead already, Sarah Heupel.
Sarah gets through, gets lead jammer. There it tries to force a track cut, does not happen.
And looks like a forearm picked up by DeZellem. So power jam Texas.
Trauma also sent to the penalty box. She's been there a few times here this afternoon. 5 points for Sarah Heupel.
Offense there and through, untouched on the inside. Sarah Heupel picking up 5 points for Texas.
Fifi Namanon picks the shoulder of an opponent and moves her out of the way to clear space for Sarah Heupel.
Release the Kraken. Texas moves forward and Denver speeds up the play. Now slows down at turn 4. Engages Sarah Heupel as Barrett bridges between the Texas pack and the Denver skaters at the front. Looks like clockwise blocking penalty picked up now by Lester. Penalty also assessed to Barbara Ambush from Texas.
Sarah Heupel just narrowly avoids a cut, but did not avoid it, obviously, getting that track cut as her left skate grazed the inside of the track. So power jam for Denver, no lead jammer, so we, of course, will go the full 2 minutes, of which there's only 19 seconds left.
Gisellum now with 1 to beat up front, and she's through. That's a full 5 points for the Mile High Club. Lester now back into action. Barbara Ambush back in action. Sarah Heupel standing and now heading back onto the track as the jam ends. Another 3 points there for Denver. Takes their score to 120. Texas still in the lead though, 24 points, 144. 19 minutes and 4 seconds left in this derby action.
Dirty Larry makes his way out to the referees to discuss something.
Hey Rock, did you get my email on that delicious quiche recipe? Rock says, I did. I made some adjustments for altitude. Thanks for sending it.
It was tasty.
Yeah, I bet.
Smarty Pants donning the star first time. She received the star as a pivot earlier, but first time as the jammer.
Wilhelm jamming for Denver. And Smarty Pants, she's through, but she is not lead.
No pass, no penalty, so she gets through. Lead jammer still available. Jackie Daniels with a penalty.
Wilhelm dealing with Smarty Pants and the Texas blockers, and Smarty Pants is through. Lead jammer Wilhelm, and looks like a penalty now assessed to Smarty Pants' forearm. So Wilhelm's got lead and the only jammer on the track. So Denver will be wise to continue skating. She is through, untouched. 5 points, Cinco de Rinco, Denver.
Texas got caught looking spread out. You can't do anything except it's just a weave drill for jammers. And there we go again, 5 more points as Texas is not getting together in their team packs as they should. And Jackie Daniel comes inside, leaves lane 4 open. That's 5 more points for Denver, coming up very, very close to where Texas is, 135 to 144.
And Wilhelm through with another 4 points, calls off the jam, takes the score now. Denver 139, Texas 148. Sorry, 149, 10 points now separating these two titans of the flat track.
And momentum, no doubt, is in the favor of Denver. Again, from the tail end of that first period through halftime and into this second period, they are definitely made the correct adjustments. Texas has been trying to maintain, although I'm sure we will see adjustments by their squad as well.
Yep, 5-on-5 on the track. Busick on the track versus Bloody Mary. But all 4 blockers for both squads here, making life miserable for these jammers.
Now it's reversed. Denver goes to the back. Fifi hoping there was a cut. There was not. Bloody Mary also gets knocked to the back. Both jammers recycling.
Everyone skate backwards all the time. All the way to the back of turn 2. Busick manages to edge through. Lead jammer, Denver. Bloody Mary looking for some light on the inside. Cannot find it, quickly closed by Angeli.
Now Texas has to revert to defense. Cannot help offensively as Denver calls it off. Big hit. Takes her down for just a moment. Gingerly getting up, but good to see that she did get up on both skates.
All right, score at Texas 149, Denver 141. 8 points separating these two teams. 15 minutes and 20 seconds left. All 5 skaters on the track for both squads. And jamming is Sarah Heupel for Texas, up against Sharpless for Denver.
Denver moving up towards the pivot line to kind of spread things out here. Texas back wall.
Akers catches Sarah Heupel, and the rest of the squad braces up at the front. Big wall there by Texas at the back.
And a good bit of big hit by 129 as Sarah Heupel gets lead jammer. She was knocked in the face.
And Akers now signals for the cap, picks up the cap for
Akers, another one of those that she jams, but mostly from the pivot position. And when necessary, such a talented skater.
Yeah, bumped out there by Barbara Ambush, and she has to recycle. Sarah Heupel also bumped out by DiGiallo, and back to the front of turn 2.
Bittercup with a good box, getting the jammer sucked up, pushed inside.
No pack called, and out of play called now on Barbara Ambush for Texas. Sarah Heupel hits the wall and now calls off the jam. Akers did pick up points there on that pass, so Texas will take their lead to 159. Denver will hover at 145, 13 minutes and 49 seconds left in this period.
You know, one thing we were talking about earlier about some of the new faces on both of these teams, just amazing how both of them continue to fill the coffers with talent. You know, being around Texas and seeing what they've brought in, and then hearing about Denver, but now seeing what they've done is just a true testament of how hard they work and bring their program up to bring the new skaters into the fold.
Absolutely, and both teams have fantastic B squads as well. So, and it looks like DeZellem now picking up a penalty for Denver. Lead jammer, Smarty Pants for Texas.
So a change in strategy. Smarty's now jamming a second time. Of course, everybody knows Smarty very well. One of the most talented skaters out there, also a Team USA, just like Tracy Akers.
Good work there by Lorch, and now Barrett's bridging. Quilly to the back, and now bridging as well. And she is through. That is 5 points for Smarty Pants.
Smarty Pants able to use the rope as her wheels bumped it but didn't go over, kept her in bounds, able to get through and get that status. Now she's back up front again. And a track cut as she stepped her toe stop out from that hit. So power jam once again for Denver.
DeZellem now out there as the lone jammer on the track, tripped up at the front by Texas. And it looks like a clockwise block call now on DeZellem.
As she was,
a back block call.
Back block as she was holding the star, so power jam, revolving door. She sits, Smarty Pants is released. We're going to continue the full 2 minutes. 5 points on that pass. 25 seconds left in this jam.
Quigley now bridging as DeZellem is back in the mix for Denver. Barbara Ambush recycling to the back of turn 2. Another 5 points for Smarty Pants.
Smarty knocked down, back up 3 points just as that jam is called.
Texas now on a bit of a swing, manages to turn some momentum their way. Texas 177, Denver 145. Jammer penalties, jammer penalties, jammer penalties.
Lots of penalties. That board has been filling up. No player has fouled out as of yet. Although we can't see the board from here, I'm sure that there are a couple players that are somewhat close. Bloody Mary jamming again for Texas.
Wilhelm through. Yep, she picked up lead for Denver, but got swallowed back up by that tough Texas pack. Bloody Mary fighting a wall of 3 at the rear. Now everyone all mixed up together. It's a gray pack.
Oh, found the inside line, getting through. Now she was lead past the pack again. Of course, that was still her initial pass. Bloody Mary has not made it through for her initial passes. Texas scoots to the back defensively. Loose Bandit, Jackie Daniels, and Shortcut in there, along with Bittercup.
Wilhelm through, 5 points picked up for Denver. And Bloody Mary almost cuts the track, manages to stay, but then she stands up and takes the track cut. Lester to the box, Salvo to the box for Denver, but luckily for them, Bloody Mary to the box.
And Bloody Mary did the right thing. She stayed down, but she had stood up enough to get that track cut once she reestablished position.
Just Akers and Jallo out there for Denver. And 4 points on that jam for Wilhelm takes Denver up to 154. Texas 177, 9 minutes and 30 seconds left in this game.
So as time starts to wind down and that score starts to get a little bit closer, both teams are going to have to ratchet down their strategy, stay out of the penalty box, which is a tough statement to make in this bout. Because it's going to be very, very important, especially again as people are accumulating those penalties. Freight train down in blocking.
Busick on the line for Denver, working on a wall of 2. Bloody Mary on her feet, and Busick manages to jump in. She's through lead jammer Denver. Bloody Mary, though, just about a half lap behind and closing on Busick.
Busick narrowly avoiding a track cut.
Busick with some nice zigzag work. 4 points for Denver.
Bloody Mary had gotten to the back of the pack, but did not pass any hips, so no points there for Texas. 177 to 158. 8 minutes and 20 seconds to go. One player, that's Jackie Daniels, in the penalty box for Texas. We got a timeout. Timeout for Denver.
Looks like we're gonna see Wilhelm on the line for Denver up against Sarah Heupel. Looks like Denver almost did not field a jammer.
I think that's why the timeout was called. Smart work by Scott Free, of course, recognizing that case. Played in a bout earlier today, and the opposing team had that same thing, but were not able to get that jammer on it, so they skated the whole jam without that player, much less the jammer on the track.
Right, it's a terrible situation if you don't field a jammer, because the other team was just going to go 2 minutes, and unless they get a penalty, that jam's going to go 2 minutes.
Right, right, and of course, that all kind of boils down to the bench manager, the one that's setting the lineups to make sure that they're set before they get on to the next lineup. So good recognition once again by Denver. Both of these squads have so much talent on the skaters, but when we talk about the coaching alone, again, a huge amount of Derby experience and intelligence. Scott Free, a referee for many years and coaching and now playing as well. Dirty Larry, a men's player with 4 world championships under his belt now.
Yeah, not too shabby, right?
Yeah, not too shabby. So both of these squads are very, very smart.
And plus, you have to make adjustments midstream. If a jammer's having a hot game or a hot moment, you know, you've got to give him the space to let him work, which I think is the case in Wilhelm. She had a really good jam a couple of jams ago.
So Sarah Heupel trying to get through. She gets knocked out, does not get lead jammer status. That goes to Wilhelm.
Bloody Mary's still looking for an opening here. Now 1 to beat up front. Good bridging by the Mile High Club. Wilhelm, though, putting points on the board for Denver.
That was far past 20 feet, so they had to let her go, but 4 points for Denver. As Fifi Namanon and Polygon sent to the penalty box, so Texas is going to be down short. That was a forearm and a back block.
Right, so 4-2 pack now favoring the Mile High Club. Busick back on the line for Denver. And Smarty Pants jamming for Texas. 4-2 once again favoring the Mile High Club. 162 Denver, 177 Texas. 7 minutes left in this game, Chip. It's really, really good.
It's almost like a basketball game where you just wait till the fourth quarter to turn it on. Teams are so close, that's when all the action happens. 2-on-1 and a multiplayer block called on Jackie Daniels, so only 1 defensively on the track, plus Smarty as the jammer trying to get through.
Busick picking up points here as Smarty Pants is out, and looks like an out-of-play penalty assessed to Lorch for Denver.
5 points. Denver creeping ever so close to notching it even with Texas. 177 to 167. 6 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Period number 2 here.
All right, Bloody Mary back on the line, and Wilhelm, again, getting more reps in as you perform better. You know, you got to keep that streak out there. Stay on the table if you're winning.
Right.
And that's what Denver's doing here. She stays in bounds. She is through. Lead jammer Denver. Bloody Mary with 2 to beat up front. Now 3 to beat. Good defense by the Mile High Club. Now Wilhelm with a wall of black to contend with at the rear of the pack. Both teams content to let their jammers do the work as Bloody Mary is out of the pack for Texas.
Denver coming in, playing a little pillar offense to try to help her get through. She does. She gets those 4 points. So good work by the Denver offense, eking ever so close. 6 points, Joe Mama, between these two teams.
All right, 5 minutes and 14 seconds left. Texas 177, Denver 171. It is electric in here, Chip Queso.
There's no doubt the crowd has started to filter in. This is track 1. I guess they're considering this the main track. Of course, this is one of the big bouts for this weekend. On the women's side, we've got a men's bout coming up that's also going to be tremendous, but it's all about what we see right now.
Sarah Heupel on the line against Busick for Denver. Busick finds the seam on the outside. She is through. Lead jammer Busick as Freight Train heads to the box for Texas.
Once again, Denver with the lead jammer status.
Sarah Heupel tries to pass the star to, looks like Jackie Daniels, and now takes a penalty, headed to the box. Power jam Denver.
Yeah, so as a jammer, so advantage is 1 point down as Denver, but not for long. Looks like we are going to have a lead change with 4 more points on the board for Denver.
Denver now 4-3 pack advantage as Busick finds an opening, weaves to and fro. 5 more points on the board for Denver. Takes this score to 186, Texas 177. And Busick calls the jam just as Sarah Heupel stands up, freezing her on the track. Actually, no, she was able to get out. Nope, she's still in the box.
So now 177 to 186. Took quite a while, but with patience, consistency, Denver has gotten themselves in the lead.
Wilhelm now out there by herself, but not for long. She is through. Lead jammer Sarah Heupel now back on the track for Texas. 4-on-4 in the mix. Has some good offense there up front by Polygon. But Sarah Heupel still stuck behind that wall of Akers and Lorch. Oh, so close, but has to recycle. And Polygon through with a forearm. 4 points, 5 points on the board for Wilhelm.
Bittercup with a multiplayer block, so she is going to the penalty box. Trauma and Fifi Namanon, the only defensive players on the floor for Texas.
And Wilhelm through. Another 5 points for Denver. Big offense now by Fifi Namanon. Wilhelm picking up another 5 points for Denver. Takes them to 2:01. We have 2 minutes and 15 seconds left. Looks like clockwise blocking penalty on DeJalo for Denver as Bittercup returns to the mix for Texas. Sarah Heupel now out for Texas.
So more points awarded for Denver. So with just under 2 minutes to go, Texas has got quite an uphill battle here as they have relinquished their lead here late in this second period, giving the star to Smarty Pants. 1 minute and 25 seconds to go. We have got a timeout called by Texas.
Texas now, we've got a minute 25 left, Chip. Let's look at some of the scenarios that we can see in this last minute 30 of play here. Denver's at 205, Texas 177. Texas has to get lead no matter what.
Correct. They have to get lead, and they've got to be able to maintain the whole 2 minutes scoring. The defense has got to crank it down. They've either got to force a jammer penalty, which of course Denver has quite a few, but not here in the later minutes. So,
and let's keep in mind, Texas has no more timeouts.
Correct.
This is it. So what Texas has to do, no matter what is happening on the track, they got to play this entire jam for the full 2 minutes, as long as they're lead.
Correct. Now, the one other advantage that they have is one blocker down by Denver. So 3-on-4 advantage. Dare we say that Texas is going to put in their oh crap lineup?
Yes, this is the time to do it. Why not?
Time to do it. So lining up for Texas, jamming is Smarty Pants, Barbara Ambush, Fifi Nomenon, Bitter Cup, and Shortcut.
Yeah, we've got Busick out there. We've got Quigley, S.H. Long, and Barrett for Denver, so no slouch there. Smarty Pants. Oh, Smarty Pants through. Lead jammer, Texas. Busick stuck in the mix.
Yeah, and unfortunate for Denver because she just about had it. She is going for a star pass now. Just about had lead jammer, as getting 5 points and getting through is Smarty Pants. So both jammers through and eligible. Smarty in the lead, 5 points advantage, 182 to 205. Texas has got to crank down that defense as Smarty Pants gets knocked down in the backstretch.
Now Smarty Pants knows if she calls the jam with less than 30 seconds left, they have no recourse to stop the next jam unless Denver would call a timeout, which I think would be very rare. So Smarty Pants has got to get through, and she's just going to keep going. Now, it looks like a star pass to Denver. 4 points, though, for Denver.
So Quigley has now got the star. Smarty Pants is scoring points. She's got 15 so far. Sorry, that was 4, so that was...
Okay, looks like that jam was called with less than 30 seconds left here. Texas has no timeouts. Denver 205, Texas 186.
I don't believe all the points have been added onto the board as of yet.
Right. What might happen now is that Texas could look at an official review. They still have theirs.
They do. Now, Texas, Smarty went in. I'm sorry, yeah, Smarty went in. She had 2 passes and 4 more, so that was 14 points. Quigley received the star. She also got through and got 4 points, so that would be 209. There's 190 to 205.
Right, 15 points now separating these two teams.
And no time on the clock. Well, I say no time. Period clock is set at 18. So, with the official review,
right,
and time on the period clock, we are going to have one more jam.
Yeah, it looks like we've increased the period clock time to 20 seconds now.
So now the same basic situation that we just talked about.
Yes.
Can Texas do it 2 times in a row? Instead of Smarty Pants, they now line up Sarah Heupel. Previously in the game, Sarah Heupel had more lead jams than any other jammer. However, she was not lead jamming at least her last 2 on the track.
Right.
So does she have that in her with 1 player in the penalty box? So that's also reversed from this previous jam. Now Texas down a blocker, Denver up a blocker.
Right, and Wilhelm's on the line for Denver, and she's been red hot the last half, Chip. So something that Denver has understood, that you got to put in the people that are putting points on the board. And clearly Wilhelm's been doing it the second half. So this is going to be very exciting. We've got, oh, the period clock looks like it's been adjusted to 2 seconds left.
Why are they teasing us with us so
I don't
much?
know what's happening.
20 seconds, 2 seconds, it kind of does not matter in this scenario. It's 1 jam. Either Texas gets lead, holds back, and is able to come back for some kind of phenomenal win, or Denver holds, maintains, limits the points, and walks away with the win.
And it looks like Denver has been, the score has been corrected now. Texas 190, Denver 213. So there we go, 23 points instead of 25 separating these two teams. Looks like we will have some discussion on what the official review was.
Meanwhile, a couple of the officials are coming over and calculating and checking the points. So they're doing that while the other referees are talking with Dirty Larry and Scott Free. We've got standing room in a good majority of the venue here. Those who got here early and got seats are on the edge waiting for this final jam.
Yeah, this is, again, I haven't been able to watch a lot of the games today. Been working with my team and then talking with other folks, but this is great, Chip. This is what the Big O tournament's all about.
So while we have a minute, kind of an interesting thing for us as announcers, we're calling this game here today. What happens tomorrow?
Austin Anarchy, your team faces off against Denver Ground Control, my team.
At 11:30.
So today we're buddies, tomorrow mortal enemies.
Mortal enemies.
It's going to be fun. I really think it's going to be great. I'm really excited about this tournament, but I'm definitely excited about skating and you know, the whole vibe here in general.
Yeah, it's absolutely, this is again the first time I've been here and will be something on my calendar from now on as we are waiting for what the result of this official review is.
And looks like we have another skater in the box for Texas. Previously just one, now two. So it is 4-2 favoring the Mile High Club. Cyril Heupel on the line for Texas. Wilhelm on the line for Denver.
That is Fifi Namanon with Shortcut. So Smarty Pants and Jackie Daniels, the new Texas skater, are the only two on the track for her jammer, Sarah.
Those are two pretty good ones to have out there.
Pretty good,
I would say. Okay, well, here we go. The official review is over. I do not know the result or if it even matters. 2 seconds left in this period. Hinges on who gets lead here, Chip.
It is all very key. As Wilhelm is taking some approach right into the chest of Smarty Pants. And there is that lead jammer status. Sarah knocked to the outside. Scott Free yelling for them to call it off. They do, and ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Denver has pulled out a win. I don't know if it was an unexpected win, but certainly
we knew it was going to be close. We knew this game was going to be close. Again, the last 2 years of history have shown us Texas has taken this team by about 40 to 60 points. But again, as years go by, changes are made to rosters, experience is had, and phenomenal game today, Chip.
Yeah,
for both squads.
Absolutely great bout, and so proud of not only my Texas girls, but knowing Denver very well, very proud of what they've done. A lot of new faces, and they are definitely smiling right now for their victory lap. We've got coaches tugging on each other's overalls, all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I gotta say, this is where you find out your team's composition, and you got to make adjustments as the season wears on. So obviously Denver's got some work to do, Texas got some work to do, but we're early on at the start of tournament season. Where the rubber meets the road is this fall, you know, with the tournament season. But great chance for them to get exposure for other skaters, try out what's working, try new stuff. Why not? This is where you do it.
Yes, absolutely. And once again, Denver coming out victorious at the tail end of the second period, 213 to 190 as the Texecutioners take their victory lap. Of course, the whole crowd is fans of both squads, but walking away 1-0 on the day so far, the Denver Roller Derby.
Yes,
I almost
sir.
said dolls.
Good job.
That is not the correct thing. They are no longer dolls. It's just Denver Roller Derby.
Yep, final score, 213 Denver, Texas 190, hard-fought bout on both counts. We will now move on to the next series of play. I've got a game here at 4, Chip.
You've got a game at 4. We've got men's Puget Sound Seattle taking on the Rattleskates from Arizona. Not sure what Denver's schedule is. Texas plays Victorian later on tonight, and I'm sure there'll be more bouts here upcoming for the Denver
Yeah,
squad
Denver
as well.
plays Philly tomorrow and then faces off in Victorian on Sunday. So please stay tuned to much more roller derby action here at the Big O on WFTDA.tv. I am Joe Mama.
I'm Chip Queso.
Thanks for tuning in.